Peter Cushing in the late 50s. Now, the latest in a long line is, of course, Jeremy Brett.
On the contrary, Watson, you can see everything, but you fail to reason from what you see. You are too timid in drawing your inferences.
Then, pray, tell me what it is that you can infer from that hand.
That the man is highly intellectual is, of course, obvious. And also that he was very well-to-do within the past 3 years, although now he has fallen upon evil days. He had foresight, but less now than formerly, pointing to a moral retrogression, which, when taken with a decline in his fortunes, seems to indicate an evil influence. Probably drink. This may account also for the fact that his wife has ceased to love him.
My dear Holmes.
Ah, and the actor Jeremy Brett is with us. Good morning to you, first of all.
Morning, 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 morning.
And I want to start off an investigation here, really, Jeremy, because it's my theory that your Holmes, more than any of the other Sherlock Holmes, plays the character as close to the edge of evil himself. Very little difference, in a sense, between him and Moriarty, the evil genius who hounds Holmes. Well, am I nearly right?
I mean, truthfully, I've just desperately tried to play him. I hope there's a little spirituality in the way I play him, as well as that edge. I mean, the representation of genius is practically impossible if you're a person, you know, just like me. But that is that in all my endeavors to try and get the quickness of mind, and the fact that he doesn't show anything has meant that I've had to kind of draw my face. And the only way to let the audience in through the camera is to kind of show the cracks in the marble. And I think probably in that endeavor, there is certainly a darker side of the moon to Holmes.
It's the moments when you play the violin or in an almost manic fashion. Also, in those days, when Holmes was depicted, opium was not actually the obscenity that, of course, it is now considered. And there is that edge in both those things, isn't there, in the way you play Holmes. You sound as if you're nearly on the step of the opium den all the time. Well, you look sometimes like that.
Well, I just listened to the bit about smoking, and I've needed to say how to tell her that my cigarettes are off. I think that there was, of course, an enormous amount of at the end of that century. I mean, first of all, remember the great darkness at the end of that century. I mean, there was Bram Stoker's Dracula, there was Oscar Wilde's picture of Dorian Gray and Holmes, and they're all rather dark creatures. But the things that I find most complicated about him is to get across this kind of brilliance of the brain, hence the hair straight back, trying to look like the drawings that used to accompany the Strand magazine, and the white makeup. And the white makeup is, I mean, my fault, nothing to do with Granada, because bless them, they were wonderful to me and took such care of me, and still are. But I did a very white makeup to try and make myself look very pale and aesthetic. And I think that brought a kind of devilment to the face.
Without wishing to be sycophantic, I think it works absolutely brilliantly on you. I think you're the best Holmes there's been. Has it taken you over, the character?
For a while. I then tossed him aside. Well, not as easily as that. For a while. I'm now enjoying him immensely. It's taken me a long time to get into him and find the way to play him without sort of affecting myself. It's funnily enough easier in the theatre. In the theatre, you go to the theatre and you put on your Sherlock Holmes cap, and as you leave the theatre, you hang it up. But when you're filming, you get dressed up and made up at 6:30 in the morning, and you're wearing that black Undertaker's outfit and the white mask, rather like the Phantom of the Opera, another one, until 7 in the evening. So that was harder to take the cap off. Now I'm enjoying it more.
What is it about Holmes? I mean, if you went to America and talked about Holmes, they all know Holmes. And about a mile from here in Camden in North London, there's Baker Street, his old address in the books. And I believe that 40 letters a week still arrive at his address in the book, 221B Baker Street.
There's a little lady there, very sweetly, answering letters saying that Holmes has retired, cannot look into their case, and is beekeeping in Kent.
Would you ever do that, beekeeping in Kent? I suspect you're attached to Mr. Sherlock Holmes for a long time, aren't you?
Well, I tell you what, it's a lovely part, and it's a brilliantly exciting part to try and get right. And I haven't yet, and I'm, you know, I haven't finished working on him yet, and therefore it's exciting.
Where will Holmes go in the stage version that you're doing? Will it? Will he take on Moriarty?
Yes, Moriarty is very much there. Very much there. I mustn't tell too much about the play because it is an insight.
It's a two-man show, actually, as opposed to a one-man show.
Well, there are about 7 ghosts.
Oh, ah.
Not easy parts to play, it must be said, yeah.
And they come in, and it's a brilliant production by Patrick Garland. And we open at Wyndham's next Thursday for, I think, until February. But then the idea is to stop for a while, and then the States, which will be hilarious, because they are crazy
They're
about it.
absolutely nuts about Holmes in the States.
And they've seen our films, all 20 of them, I think, about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And when I was there in '85, I was asked to a little presentation do after I was rehearsing a play. And I walked in, and I was dressed as me. And I walked in, and every single person was dressed as Sherlock Holmes, men and women. The women had mashing pipes, and they were all... and I thought I must wait until they leave, because I longed to see whether they'd go out like that. And they did. They went to the subway, they got to the buses, they got in their cars, all dressed as Sherlock Holmes.
Motorbikes, yeah.
Wonderful.
One final question, we'll chat to you later. Where is the deer stalker and the pipe? Many people have said of your depiction that you've left those 2 basic props out for a long part of it.
He'd only wear them in the country.
Right.
Oh.
That's interesting. That's fact, is it?
In all the drawings, he only wears them in the country. So whenever I'm in the country, or it's in the drawings that accompany the stories, I wear it. But it's not in town. And of course, there wasn't that. I think that was William Gillette, because he said it was easier to speak with a pipe in his mouth if he had a
So it was just a
mashing.
straight pipe?
He smoked a disputatious pipe, a long, thin cherry wood for his... a long cherry wood for his disputatious moods, and a short clay one for his meditative moods.
I see.
It's all worked out to the last detail. Fascinating. We'll chat later, Jeremy.
Right now, we'll take a quick